東京での暮らしに疲れて、疲れたっていうか、ちょっと環境を変えたい。
This is the story of Ryuji Yamashita. He is an artist, and he is making use of a government-funded program called Chiikiokoshikyouryokutai, using his art to create and strengthen community, aid in various events, and bring joy to the people around him, while doing what he loves most in this world, making art. When I first started this project of following him around, I didn't really understand what it is he was doing while I was filming him. But after I had spent almost an entire week with him, I started to get a grasp of his work and his passion. For now, let me take you with me into a whole week of preparing for one single event, for which Yamashita made several artworks using traditional Japanese techniques, as well as being a vital part of the actual event itself, by contributing with preparation, being part of the event staff, and of course, cleaning up afterwards. This story begins by making the materials used in the various art projects Yamashita will prepare for the event. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
今回イベントがいろりっていうのをテーマにしてる。
Okay, let's pause here for a quick second. What's an irori? An irori is an in-house fireplace that used to be in traditional Japanese homes. It was used to cook food, warm up the house, and keep insects out of the roof. Nowadays, most of these old Japanese homes are under protection and strict regulation from the government, so lighting up the irori is usually forbidden in order to preserve the integrity of the building. This video was taken in an old Japanese home owned by a private entity, so they can light it up as much as they like. Anyways, back to Yamashita.
イベントに合わせて絵を描くのね。絵を描く時のやつを昔ながらの素材を使っていろんなことをしたくて、いろりって墨とかを使うのね。だからそれにちなんだものでやりたいなっていうので、本当はもっと精製されたやつというか形が綺麗なやつとかを使うんだけど、今回はクズになる墨を、この墨を切った時のこれにニカを混ぜてやるんだけど、この状態だとすぐ大きいやつもあるからちょっとこしていきます。下に押し付けながらなんだけど、ザラザラした感覚があると思うのよ。こうやってやってると。で、このザラザラしたやつを潰したいっていう感じだから。
This guy's name is Tsutomu Asahina. He also is an artist in this area. Since he too was asked to prepare some artwork for the same event, he joined in on the first day to learn from Yamashita how to make the ink. You're gonna hear him grind away during the following interview section. So Yamashita, tell us a little bit about yourself. Why did you choose to work in this area?
東京での暮らしに疲れて。いや、疲れたっていうか、ちょっと環境を変えたいって思って、出身が熊本で日本の南の方にはいたんだけど、東北の方住んだことないなって思って、旅行に来ていいなって思ったっていうのもある。調べたら、地域おこし協力隊っていうのそれまで知らなかったから。
But what exactly is Chiikiokoshikyouryokutai? I want to use this opportunity to try and loosely explain what Chiikiokoshikyouryokutai is. First, these are the Japanese characters the word is made of. Chiiki, which means area or region. Okoshi, which means to vitalize, promote, or revive. Kyoryoku, which is the word for collaboration, cooperation, and support. And tai, which is the word for core, unit, or group. The full word Chiikiokoshikyouryokutai is translated as Regional Revitalization Cooperation Team, at least by the dictionary that I use. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret here. Most Japanese people also don't really understand the meaning of the word when they first hear it. Let me try to explain it by giving you a few examples. Some people use this project to kickstart their local business, like running a cafe or selling homemade sweets with locally sourced ingredients. Others may renovate an old, abandoned Japanese building and reuse it as a guest house or a cafe or something of the sorts. Then there are also people who will try to become farmers or take care of bulls and cows. There really are various applications to make use of this program. By the way, I'm also part of it. But enough about me, let's get back to this video's protagonist. So what he's doing here is filtering the charcoal through a coffee filter to make sure only the finest particles are getting into the water. By the way, Yamashita, what is it you usually do when you're not preparing for a particular event?
いつもは頼まれたポスターを作ったりとか、イベントの企画をみんなとやったりとかで、そのイベントに出すためのワークショップの準備だったり作品を作ったりっていうような感じ。何でもできる人。何でもやる。なんかいろんな人に関わりながらやるのがやっぱ大事だなっていうのはあるから。下が炭なんだけど、でこれもだいたい下に沈殿してくれてるから。炭が何かあるとすぐ落ちちゃうのよ。ポロポロ落ちちゃうから定着してくれないから、水だけだと。これがニカワっていう接着剤になる。
But like, what exactly is Nikawa?
動物の脊髄だったりとかを煮詰めて固めたもの。
So this is how people in the olden days used to make ink?
伝統的なもう本当に室町時代1000年とか前からやってるやり方。
It's so interesting to think about how people figured this out.
だいたい水とニカワ1対1で混ぜちゃう。こんな感じ。
Afterwards, they were trying out the ink together. But let's move on to the actual project that Yamashita planned to make with the homemade traditional ink. The year before, Yamashita had already made a similar kind of artwork using charcoal and wood to convey a story with his paintings. When the organizer of the event commissioned him to do another one, he happily obliged. I actually joined Yamashita for many hours, literal days, while he worked on these pieces. But since showing all of it to you would take forever, enjoy this curated highlight reel of the footage.
この間乳鉢で擦ってたやつ、あれの炭を使ってでニカワで溶いて。
Since Nikawa is made from animal-derived materials, it doesn't have a very long shelf life after having been melted down, so it has to be used up quickly. Which also means that every day Yamashita was continuing to work on these paintings, he had to prepare the ink again as well. I've been wondering, Yamashita, what would you say does this opportunity of using the Chiikiokoshikyouryokutai project mean to you, personally?
今までちょっと忙しくてできなかったこととかも頼まれたりとかした時に、あ、これやったことなかったからやってみようとか、こういう人と関わったことなかったからこういう人と関わってみようっていうようなことができたりとか、自分を広げるチャンスっていう風に自分は思ってるかな。
I especially enjoyed watching him consider every single stroke with the utmost care and precision. Honestly, watching an artist engaged in their art is just such a beautiful thing. But this was not the only project Yamashita put his heart and soul into, so let's move on to the next day. His paintings will be displayed at the event, but he was also asked to make something they could sell, so they decided on naturally dyed cloth. There are artists who actually make this their main product, but Yamashita didn't have a lot of experience with naturally dyeing cloth, so he was kinda just
つけすぎない程度につけてすぐに絞ろうかなと思って。
winging it most of the time.
グラデーションとかに濃いところと薄いところでなってくれるんだったらそれもちょっと試したいなっていうのがあって、でドライヤーでちょっともう乾かしちゃって。
Obviously, he didn't try all of them by hand. These ones were just a trial batch.
結構3回目濃く出るな。漬物につけるときに変色防止とかアク抜きだったりとかで使うやつなんだけど、変色防止っていう作用が布にも結構効いてくれるから。
This might be a sudden deep question, but what would you say your ultimate goal is with your work?
なんだろうな、いろんな人にアートを楽しんでほしいかなっていうのがあって、ワークショップとかも結構多めにしてるから、どうしてもアートってとっつきにくい、自分ではできないとかって思う人が多いから、なんかそういうのをそんなことないよっていうふうに、言いたい、なんか感じてほしいかな。
Apart from dyeing the cloth yellow with something called kihara, which is made from tree bark, he also used the previously ground charcoal as black dye, among other dyes. Just a few days left until the event, which also meant that in order to be finished on time, another Chiikiokoshikyouryokutai member had to come to the rescue, as well as me also helping. It was so incredibly hot in this attic, which I admit was beneficial for the drying process, but still. Just as one would imagine, the color looks super cool right after dyeing. However, for example with the charcoal one, the charcoal is still stuck to the fabric at this point, so after a round of washing, it'll look more like this. Yamashita also played around with rubber bands to make unique patterns for each individual cloth. I personally really like this green dye made from yomogi, but unfortunately it wouldn't maintain this brightness after getting its final wash to be sold at the event. Speaking of, the event was held at an old community building, which is being kept intact and usually used as a museum. A different former Chiikiokoshi member by the name of Kai Sato used this place to execute the event. The location being surrounded by beautiful nature in combination with the traditional charm this place has was just really special. Inside and outside, various people, including Yamashita, were busy preparing everything for the guests to arrive.
大丈夫。OK。
Various different vendors were joining the event, so they had to make sure everyone was adequately protected from the sun. Again, it was super hot.
あ、これはね、絵だよ。絵が裏に書いてあるの。テントテント。それはね、いろりっていうやつ。火をつけるんだよ。
And he's gone.
11時からイベントが始まるのでぼちぼち人が集まってくると思います。なんかイベント中に困ったことがあったら、今手挙げてる人が実行委員会なので、なんか困ったことがあったら今手挙げてる人に声かけてください。
The event itself was an attempt to preserve the culture of northern Japan, Tohoku. All of the vendors made an effort to incorporate ingredients into their foods that they normally wouldn't. Like this crepe, topped with a charcoal cookie and mochi. Foods like miso mochi or tofu dengaku, or sweets made from donguri, which is acorn, are not as commonly found today, but not even 100 years earlier they were part of a regular diet in Tohoku. One of the coffee vendors even matched a specifically made acorn treat to a coffee blend, so that the sweet notes of the treat would only come out when consumed in combination with the particular coffee, which, I'm not gonna lie, was absolutely mind-blowing. In the end, everyone gathered to clean up and made sure to restore the building to its original state. I was so amazed by being able to peek behind the scenes, seeing just how much effort everyone put into this one event, that honestly felt like it was over in a heartbeat. However, it's really awesome to see what a local community can accomplish by joining forces. I feel very lucky to have been able to get this chance. And thanks to this event, I was able to meet many people I'm now friends with. Thank you, Yamashita. But wait, there's more? Even though Yamashita must have been exhausted, barely getting any sleep for the past few days, in the evening after the event, he immediately started preparing for another event the following day.
何これってちょっと明日気になるんだけどちょっといやちょっとねどうしよう
I was also exhausted by the end of this week.
アートがあるから自由にできるけど、それがなくなったら俺は何もできなくなる。やめてって言われたら何していいか分かんない。
Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe and share if you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you again. Bye!